There are two reasons why I make these combo primer videos when a new, clearly broken legend like Witherbloom the Balancer is revealed. One is to give you an idea of how the deck is going to be built, to give you a starter to build your own brew if that's what you want to do. But two is to make sure that if you ever see a Witherbloom the Balancer deck, that you know what combos to be prepared for so that you can shut them down. So let's take a look at building a Witherbloom the Balancer deck and make sure that you're aware of how to play the deck, how to build the deck, and importantly, how to shut the deck down. First, let's take a look at Witherbloom themselves. This is a very deceptive green and black 8 mana Elder Dragon. Since this 5/5 with flying and death touch also has affinity for creatures. If you're unfamiliar with the mechanic, it reduces the cost of the creature by 1 generic mana for each creature you control. And importantly, also gives instants and sorceries you control affinity for creatures too, which, in case you aren't aware, is incredibly broken. The whole goal with Witherbloom as a commander is pretty simple. Untap with 6 creatures in play. If you do that, you can almost always win the game on the spot. If your commander only costs 2 mana, then you can cast spells with X in their cost, and X can just be equal to the number of creatures you control for just the base mana cost. It's really that easy. Make creatures cast big splashy spells. If you're equal parts Timmy, Johnny, and Spike, then this deck hits the sweet spot, since it includes a big, mean dragon, intricate combos, and can pull off wins as early as turns 3 or 4. But before I dive deep, let me know which of the other Strixhaven Elder Dragons you'd want to see on the channel next. Lorehold? Quandrix? Honestly, they're all really good. Okay, let me demonstrate how broken this commander can get. If you're able to start early with a Mana Dork or 2, and of course this deck is going to run multiple, then casting a creature or enchantment like Springheart Nantuku, Bitterbloom Bearer, or Bitter Blossom that brings friends to the party can set you up to be online with 6 creatures on turn 4. From there, strong tutors like Beseech the Queen, Chord of Calling, or Green Sun Zenith are either entirely free or just cost a single mana. Getting a Witherbloom Apprentice or Mirkwood Bats into play sets us up to win the game incredibly easy with the deck's single, standout, 1-card combo with our commander. Sprout Swarm. Yes, an entirely throwaway chaff common with Convoke and Flashback that makes a single 1/1 Saproling is the combo cornerstone of this deck. I love when new legends make old cards broken. And this is because with your commander out and only 4 creatures in play, it's free to cast and, oh yeah, makes a billion creatures. Because Witherbloom reduces additional costs like buyback, and Convoke means that the Saproling you make can tap for the green mana needed, you can cast this like a billion times. In the context of any other deck, that may mean attacking with those creatures. It's an instant after all. You could see if Witherbloom will live to see the next turn or not, and cast it on an opponent's end step to untap with enough tokens to drown your opponents. But remember that Mirkwood Bats. Remember that Witherbloom Apprentice. If you make infinite tokens or cast the spell infinite times, you just end up taking out all opponents at once. And in context of this deck, infinite creatures means infinite mana to pump into X spells. Cast Witherbloom, make infinite Saprolings for free, then cast any number of game-ending X spells. Exsanguinate, Torment of Hailfire, or Nuclear Fallout all end the game when cast where X equals either a few dozen or a few hundred. This includes the new Stensia Sanguinist, which uses the new Prepared mechanic from Secrets of Strixhaven. Provided you can give a creature Death Touch and connect with an opponent, you can cast Exsanguinate every turn. I heard that's pretty good in this deck, what with a big flying commander and lots of little 1/1 flying fairies that make great attackers. It is worth noting that you can do this combo with a few extra steps with another buyback card, Labrats. It also makes a token and has buyback, but lacks the Convoke option Sprout Swarm does, meaning you have to pay a single black mana to make a token each time. That is, if you're a sucker. Because you could be using a Phyrexian Altar to recast the spell over and over again by sacrificing your new pet rat to make another different pet rat. Now, this won't create you infinite creatures for your X spells, but it will trigger your effects like Witherbloom Apprentice and Mirkwood Bats if you're into that kind of thing. Now, if you're a fan of the channel, you may have seen some of my other videos on combos, where I emphasize that redundancy leads to consistency. The more pieces you have that overlap in their use, the more consistent you can get your deck and the easier it is to combo off. In this case, the only unique piece you need is Sprout Swarm. If you find a way to get it into your hand and your commander into play, you should be able to just win the game, as there are, I'm not kidding here, a dozen ways to win the game with those pieces available to you. Altar of Dementia, for instance, mills everyone with your infinite tokens entering. Genesis Wave puts your entire library into play, including Craterhoof Behemoth, which makes your non-summoning sick creatures lethal 10 times over. You could also use the new Yavimaya Bloom Sage from Secrets of Strixhaven, who lets you cast Channel to hardcast some of your X spells if you can't stick Witherbloom in play. But in order to foster that consistency, you need lots in the deck that makes more creatures, like Sedgemoor Witch, Springleaf Parade, or Wolfcaller's Howl, in order to ensure that your commander only ever costs 2 mana. And of course, you want to find your Sprout Swarm. I've included Beseech the Queen as a tutor because, with your commander out, it is entirely free to cast thanks to its 6 generic mana cost option, as well as Diabolic Revelation, which can get you more than just your Sprout Swarm. It can get you any number of cards that you need to combo off or protect your combo. I haven't really included other tutors, like the classic black tutors, though there'll certainly be options if you want to pursue the highest power level possible for this deck's build. But in my list, I've instead relied on some mass card draw options like Shamanic Revelations, or the also functions as a win con Damnable Pact. If you want to include more classic tutor options, you may want to replace these 2, or even some of the 4 mana token generators if your aim is to win by turn 4. But I have included game changers. The first game changer I've included in this high-powered list is the newly unbanned Biorhythm. This is the perfect home for it. We're powering out creatures, we're powering out our commander, then blammo! Casting Biorhythm for just green can take all of your opponents down to single-digit life while you've got a handful of creatures still ready to attack. I've been struggling to find a home for this one, and I think I found it here. I tested this brew against friends, and I was able to cast Witherbloom and Biorhythm on turn 5, then also cast an Exsanguinate to take out the table. They did not see it coming. The second game changer being Crop Rotation. Normally, I only save this for certain decks, but being able to grab a Boseiju who shelters all means you don't have to worry about casting that big splashy X-cost spell and getting it countered. Your win con is safe. You can protect your spells with other methods like Veil of Summer or Autumn's Veil as well, but this way you've got the option to do it again just in case. If I were to include another game changer in the list, I would be looking at the ludicrously expensive Gaia's Cradle. It benefits from us making creatures and makes us lots of mana to power out these X spells if we can't get our commander out. It's worthwhile for the spot if you've got a copy or if you want to proxy it. And this brings us to the other half of why I make these videos, stopping the combo. Remember how I said the only unique part of this combo is Sprout Swarm? I mentioned that so you know what public enemy number 1 is. Normally, in any deck where the commander is part of the combo, you can just blast them off the board. But thanks to Witherbloom having affinity for creatures, as long as the person piloting the deck keeps the rest of their creatures on board, that affinity can pay for commander tax as well. So spot removal may only set the Witherbloom player back 2 more mana to recast their commander. Even if you kill the Witherbloom with Sprout Swarm on the stack, buyback means the Sprout Swarm makes it back to their hand. They recast their commander, and now can tap their commander to convoke the single green mana needed to start the chain again. You've not really accomplished anything. So the weak point in the combo is Sprout Swarm. Ideally, you ensure that it does not or cannot resolve. You can't hit it with graveyard removal since it never gets put into the graveyard thanks to buyback. Buyback puts it back to the owner's hand on resolution, not the graveyard. So your options are to counter the spell, which is why the Witherbloom player may be playing Autumn's Veil or Veil of Summer, or anything else that can make you not able to counter their spells, like a City of Solitude or Defense Grid. The other option that you could be looking at, though, are stacks options. Anything that limits the Witherbloom player to a single non-creature spell per turn, like a Deafening Silence, Aethersworn Canonist, or Eidolon of Rhetoric, shuts the Witherbloom player down. They rely on chain casting spells or casting more than a single spell each turn. The third option is to keep them off of mass creatures. Do not let them amass enough creatures to discount their commander. That may turn the game into the kind of game where every other turn there's a board wipe just to stop a single player from getting 6 or more bodies in play at once. But it's a legitimate strategy to stop the Witherbloom player in their tracks. Now lastly, I want to talk about some other combos that you may find in the Witherbloom deck, namely Witherbloom Apprentice and Chain of Smog. This one is nasty, deadly, and likely you don't see it coming. It involves playing Witherbloom Apprentice, then casting Chain of Smog, targeting yourself unintuitively. Since you're the targeted player, you can choose to copy it and recast it targeting yourself over and over again. And when you do, for every time, the Witherbloom Apprentice will drain the table. This means the Witherbloom Apprentice is a win con for 2 potential combo lines in this brew, and needs to be stopped at all costs. Remove it on sight. It's a bigger threat than the commander is on its own. But do not remove it until the Witherbloom player has ditched their entire hand to copies of Chain of Smog. Let that sucker get stuck with no cards in hand and a fizzled combo. It serves them right. Hit up those comments right now and let me know how you're building Witherbloom, or if you're looking forward to shutting down their combos. Are you looking to combo off as fast as possible, or is Witherbloom a good beer and 8-drop style commander for your playgroup? And don't leave without checking out my sponsors like Card Conduit. They are hands down the easiest way to sell your individual Magic cards without the hassle of traditional buy listing. They'll get you top dollar while handling all of the heavy lifting, from sorting to grading to optimizing your price across a huge network of vendors. And they'll give you cold hard cash for it. You can use the promo code MECHANIC right now for 10% off of all fees. And if you want to pick up the cards for this list, make sure to go check out Card Trader. Use my promo code MECHANIC right now for 5% off your order from any TCG. Card Trader's zero system means you can get cards from all over the world with only one shipping fee. Save money and time today. Lastly, you can check out all of my decks on MOXFIELD. MOXFIELD is the best deck building platform in the world and makes it easy to build decks and search for specific cards with their powerful tools. Have you checked out their drag and drop feature yet? It's revolutionary. Be sure to check out my brews and follow my profile there right now. If you were inspired to brew today, you have to hit that subscribe button. Check out this other deck on my channel right now for more sweet tech. And as always folks, good luck and have fun.